Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Timeless Movie Podcast, episode number 120. My name is Victor Vasquez. It has been a while since the last episode that I did. Travel, work, life really getting in the way, but I'm excited. The month of April has a lot of movies, a lot of things to talk about, but on this week's podcast, we're not talking about a movie in April. We're talking about one of the last ones in March, and I am not alone. I have the one and only, you love him, you know him. He is known as Mr. Ohm, a.k.a. the Hat Collector, a.k.a. Mr. Nintendo Switch, a.k.a. What other name do I got for you?
I don't like this.
You don't like it?
No.
It's Omar Vasquez here.
Let's do Omar Vasquez, man.
Omar, if I go back to the last episode you were here, 115, you clearly said, you know what? I'm starting to like these intros.
What? Am I not allowed to have a different opinion?
Not every 5, maybe every 10.
No, I can do every 5.
Omar, thanks so much for coming and joining me again, man. We are going to be talking about another A24 movie, but before we get there, I did want to call out episode 119 of the Timeless Movie Podcast is available on all platforms, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Give us a listen. I talk about the new Warner Brothers movie, The Alto Knights. Another performance where one actor is two characters in a movie, Omar. It might, just a little tease, might be an award later on this year. But anyway.
The award at the Oscars?
No, at the award of the Timeless Movie Awards 2025. More important than the Oscars, Omar. You know that.
I do know that.
So go ahead and listen to episode 119. Again, I talk about all the things Alto Knights, whether I liked it or didn't like it. Leave a comment, leave a review. Let me know what you thought about the episode. That way we can talk about that specific movie. I'm going to stop rambling. Let's jump into this week's episode, Mr. Ohm. Episode 120. We are talking about A24's newest movie called Death of a Unicorn. It stars Paul Rudd, Jenna Ortega, Will Poulter, Richard E. Grant. You have a lot of different actors. They all come together in this very unique take on a specific type of a film. So, Omar, I remember you telling me before we actually watched this movie that you told me something about, I watched the trailer and now I'm kind of less excited to watch that.
Yep.
Can you elaborate on why you said that?
When I first saw the poster and the cast,
yeah,
I was really excited because it was A24. Mm-hmm. The title sounds crazy. Yeah, and it stars Paul Rudd.
Yeah,
so I was excited. I was expecting like a really funny, bizarre movie, and the trailer looked like monster movie-esque. Mm-hmm. And that killed it for me.
Yeah,
because I just think like creature features are just boring.
It's been done to death already?
Yeah.
Got it. Yeah, I didn't have the same kind of feeling. I was on the same boat with you. Even after watching the trailer, I was just excited. Okay, Paul Rudd in an A24 movie. We always know that those kind of films distributed by A24 or made by A24 are always kind of outside the box. We've already seen one this year, Opus. I think we kind of had similar opinions where we were like, okay on that one. So super excited to talk about this one. So, Mr. Rome, I think this is a great point to kind of pivot and start talking about some of the non-spoiler thoughts of Death of a Unicorn. I'll start it off and then I'll pass it over to you to see if you have any differing opinions than I had. Again, me and Omar have not talked about this movie. We watched it together. We drove back home. We didn't talk about it at all. It was just silent the whole car ride home, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe we try to talk about different things. But let's go ahead and jump in. Non-spoiler thoughts now that we got to check it out. Mr. Ohm, I thought that this movie was okay. I didn't think it was good. I was hoping that it would be great just because, again, it's A24. The actors that are in this film are just, again, it's like a unique setup, an ensemble of a way. Not too many actors, but actors that you actually at least know and have seen in different parts of different movies or TV. And I don't know. I left the theater, which is like, yeah, I had a okay or good time watching this movie. To me, if you were to tell me, and people know this if they listen to this podcast, if anybody's out there listening, you know this. I'm very verbose. I talk a lot. If you were to tell me, hey, Victor, slow down, man. Just tell me, what do you think about this movie? I honestly think it's a mix of a lot of genres that weren't balanced out right. That's like the almost like the tagline that I can give to this movie is there's just a lot of things that are mixed together and not one thing is really either ahead of the other genre or just nothing really stands out. They're all kind of mixed and it's not really good balance.
It does mix genres and it doesn't do any of them good.
That's a great, yeah. See, that's why I always want you to be on every episode because you articulate it a lot better than I do, man.
What, you said the exact same thing.
Yeah, but you said it in less words.
Oh. Because I talk less than you.
Well, that's a great way to put it, Mr. Rome. That's the biggest thing that I could kind of give it. And again, I'll go into more of the weeds when we get to the con section. Again, don't want to give it away. There are positives. There are things that I did enjoy. We'll get there. But overall, again, I thought it was just a mix. I think some people call it like a blender or kind of like a mixture of all these different genres. And I don't know, just nothing really stayed with me after I left the theater. Do you have any other opinions like different from mine, or you want to add on anything to that, like kind of what I described?
Nothing. I mean, nothing different. Mm-hmm. I think it's the worst movie I've seen this year.
Whoa! So you have that clear. Like, there's no other one that like competes with this one.
Clear, and I would even say that the worst movie I've seen in the last 2 years.
Really, man.
But then we did see that Kyle Mooney movie, which wasn't that good.
Y2K was rough, man.
So.
You know what I'll throw in there? No disrespect to anybody that worked on that movie. I thought The Crow was, I didn't think that was anything special.
I was at least entertained by The Crow.
Yeah. Well, there was elements that I really enjoyed for that one that like I called out like how The Crow looked. And anyway, we're not talking about The Crow, but just want to give you the heads up. But man, so that's the last 2 years. This is probably the one movie that sticks out as one that like.
No, this is the one, man.
This is
I don't like it. and let me tell you this.
Yeah.
I don't have any pros.
Oh, no way.
Because I didn't like anything. And this is the first time I felt this way about a movie. I just didn't like anything.
Man, okay. I'm really curious now to hear your thoughts of what my pros were.
Yeah.
To see like
I guess you could tell your pros and I'll say like how I felt. But dude, I didn't like anything. I guess I could say performances, but I didn't like the characters.
Yeah.
Because I don't like that Jenna Ortega's always the same character. I don't like that even Paul Rudd kind of didn't do anything different.
Yeah.
The rich family is a typical rich family.
Yeah.
Don't care about anybody else, only themselves, only their profit.
Yep.
The scientists are like a typical scientist in every movie. Anyway, we'll get to that later because I guess we could talk about that later. But
let's put a pin on especially the family and Jenna Ortega. I want to talk to you more about that because you actually bring up a good point. Speaking of these characters of Paul Rudd, Jenna Ortega, the family. Let me give you like a synopsis in case you're curious as to what this movie's about. And
probably should have given a synopsis first before I shit on the whole movie.
We freestyle on this podcast, man. You came up with that term like that. We're gonna freestyle this, man. No rules, no structure,
and teach their own. Like if maybe you might hear the synopsis and you might like the movie.
You like The Crow? I didn't like The Crow.
Exactly. Yeah.
Hey, we're still brothers.
If somebody. I'm talking about like from the point of view of a listener, not like you or me.
Well, let me kind of dive into a little bit of the synopsis. Again, I won't take too long, Mr. Rome. Essentially, the story revolves around a father and a daughter named Elliot and Ridley. Elliot is played by the great Paul Rudd, and Ridley is played by Jenna Ortega. So they are on a trip. I think they're going to a remote place in Canada. I think, if I remember correctly, we've only seen the movie once. But essentially, they're going to visit Elliot's bosses. This family that is in the pharmaceutical business, they invited him up. There's some type of power of attorney. Something is like legally happening, so they need Elliot's help. They essentially go to the house, and as they're driving up, they end up going down this like very beautiful scenic place. And as they go down, I think there's a point where Elliot ends up sneezing, gets distracted. He ends up hitting an animal. Elliot and Ridley end up going out, and then they think it's a specific deer or horse, and then they bluntly just say, "No, this is a unicorn." And again, you start the story there in regards to, okay, they killed this animal. What the hell is this unicorn doing here? And then you find out slowly that this unicorn has special types of abilities. And then you start getting the elements of, okay, what do rich people want out of this specific resource, right? What can they use this resource for and then sell it for? That's essentially how the story kind of plays out. Again, I'm not going to spoil the whole thing, but that's how the setup of the movie will be. Overall, Omar, you did not like it. I thought, again, it was okay time. I was never bored, but I did not leave the theater like thinking about, oh my goodness, this scene or this specific performance. It was like literally, okay, hour and 40 minutes. All right, what's the next one that we're going to watch? I was pretty much done with it. I'm pretty sure we're going to be on the same page in this one. My recommendation would be that you don't have to watch this in theaters. I would even say that my recommendation is probably going to be that you don't have to watch it in streaming either. Maybe this could be like a skippable movie. Omar, I'm pretty sure you're on the same wavelength as I am.
Yep.
Yeah. It's just it's unfortunate because it has really good like actors in there. But I think this is a good point, Mr. Om. We've talked all the things that we wanted to talk about for non-spoiler thoughts. Let's go into the spoiler section. Let's start really breaking down what we didn't like about it, the little slivers of what we did, maybe on my side mostly.
Yeah, let me know.
Let's do it. So if you have not seen Death of a Unicorn and you don't want to be spoiled, go ahead and jump out of the video, watch the movie, then come back and see if you agree with Mr. Om and I that, is it a movie that you actually want to watch? Are we completely off? Let us know in the comments below. So, Mr. Om, I'll start with the pros. I talked a lot about there's a mix of different types of genres. If I could call out one, and I think it's funny, and I really want to talk to you about this in more detail. One of my pros is I actually really enjoyed the moments of horror and the monster type of a feeling. It gave me a lot of vibes of Jurassic Park, where they have a tent and they're like kind of moving the unicorn through this little dolly, and then you see like another unicorn shadow come up out of nowhere. It almost reminded me of Jurassic Park when you have the raptors hiding around, or you just don't know what's going to come out from the other side of the corner of a different dinosaur that you haven't seen. And it gave me those kind of vibes when I was watching the movie. Not throughout the entire movie, but just during that specific section when they're first being hunted by these unicorns. Those are like the parts that like I at least really enjoyed. Also wasn't expecting the gnarly and like very gruesome deaths that you would see, either by the unicorns themselves, like just like using their horns and like killing people. Also like the kind of graphic, like when killed the unicorn at the beginning. I wasn't expecting those kind of moments, but that would be my one pro is those elements of horror and monster. Kind of wish I got more of those.
I think that's like my main thing. If like how I think this movie would be better, or just lean into one of the genres. Like if you're gonna make a comedy, go full on comedy and just make it the whole thing like funny. Or if you want to do horror, just make the whole movie horror. There was a lot of Jurassic Park references, like taking out the baby, and then there's like the two unicorns, and that actually made me hate the movie more because all I could think about is Jurassic Park, and Jurassic Park looks 10 times better than this movie.
Yeah,
like if you're bringing the baby out, in my mind I'm like, oh, that's when the two T-Rexes came out and it was all raining and the T-Rexes look real and they look big and intimidating. And then I see the screen and it's two measly like CGI freaking unicorns. Like,
yeah.
It just nothing hit. It all felt flat.
Yeah.
To me. So even the Jurassic Park references like didn't even save it. It made it worse.
What about that one security guard that ends up getting like taken by one of the unicorns? She's like, shoot her. That was another reference that
I didn't remember that.
Oh no, maybe she didn't say that. That reminded me of Jurassic Park too.
She might have said that.
But that's my one pro. Second pro, Mr. Rome. Before we move into the cons, because I only have two. First one was just the horror. Second pro, I actually did enjoy the chemistry between Paul Rudd and Jenna Ortega, like how they played the father and daughter. I know that it's a trope that we see a lot when it's like a father that is just trying to not protect, but almost take care of the family, and he's going to do whatever it takes to set them up for a great future. And then you have the teenager that is rebellious, that doesn't listen, but has a mind of their own. But that tension that they both had in their scenes, I believed it. I like that part of it. And again, talking about another genre, there was like that drama piece, like that drama between them two of like, well, they're battling like the same kind of situation where they lost a wife, or Jenna Ortega's character really lost a mother. How do you kind of combat that? You have two characters that are trying to, move on with their lives, but they're grieving in different ways. So when they would have those moments of like arguments, and they would, you could see that Elliot wanted to have a good relationship with his daughter, but couldn't. Anytime they had those, again, it wasn't every single time they were on screen together, but in most cases, it was at least something that I could somewhat connect with. Is Elliot a bad father? Most definitely. You know what I'm saying? He just made wrong decision after wrong decision after wrong decision. But again, I at least enjoyed that. Any counter arguments to that piece of it?
No, I mean, I guess that could be a pro.
Yeah.
Jenna Ortega and Paul Rudd did have the best chemistry.
Yeah,
and it was cool to see them like interact. So I guess I do have one pro. It's that
nice, dude. I got you. I got you there. One pro. Mr. Rome, this might be the first time that we have a longer con section than our pro section. So I've already spoken. Mr. Rome, any other cons that you have like on your mind that you would want to call out about Death of a Unicorn?
Dude. Any other? I'm just, no, I'm just kidding. The movie didn't look good. What do you think about that? Or, do you feel the same?
Yeah, like I was gonna say I agree with you on the unicorn piece, where especially when they were running through the house, or whenever they were just like, even at night, which is weird, is that you would expect that at night the CG unicorns could look a little bit better. But yeah, like you could just tell that, like, okay, they weren't there, you know. And it is sad when Omar brings up the great point that it's sad that a movie like Jurassic Park that came out in 1993 has way better effects than this. We're in 2025. We have the best technology that we've ever had. Dude. It's pretty unreal.
And that's what I was thinking, like, when I was watching the movie, because I was feeling Jurassic Park vibes.
Yeah.
So I was like, we're in 2025, and I get you can make an entire like animal with CG. I get you have like the technology, maybe it might be cheaper, but dude, if you want to use CG, do it like Jurassic Park. But they also use practical, or they did practical and enhanced it with CG. Do something like that, because anytime this unicorn was on screen, I just couldn't buy it.
Yeah,
it just did not look good to me. But not even the CG. Like there's like one scene where they ran in the house after, I guess, spoiler.
Yep, they were in the spoiler section, man.
Richard E. Grant's character died.
Yes. And
they all run inside the house. That shot or that scene in the house, it looked really like monotone. Like it looked gray
and flat.
I just did not like anything.
Yeah. So anything in cinematography, like everything just didn't like really fit with that vibe of this movie.
Especially like A24 movies always look really good.
Yeah.
They have really nice cinematography or like visuals.
Or something that grabs your attention as you're watching the movie. And I feel like nothing really caught my attention as I was watching this.
A spoiler for our own segment.
Yeah.
Later on.
Yeah.
I don't have a favorite shot. I don't have one.
I struggled with this one.
I can't think of one. Dude, this might be a first.
Yeah, man.
I have no pros. I have no favorite shot.
Why did I even come, huh?
Yeah.
Why am I even talking about
this? Wrap it up.
Well, before we wrap it up, man,
okay.
let me give you another con here. I did not find the movie funny.
Nope.
It was, and it sucks because the trailer sets it up as it's going to be majority of a comedy.
And
like
Paul Rudd's always funny.
Exactly.
In every movie. But I didn't really find him funny in this movie either.
Yeah. And he would do similar faces like he does in other movies, like, you know, like just all the stuff. I know that people that's listening can't hear what, like, can't see my face, but
believe me, he did the face.
And so, it was really unfortunate. Like, and this kind of goes back to when you were talking about the characters, like just not really, like, we've seen these characters before. Like you were mentioning, we've seen a rich family. We've seen like Will Poulter's character of Shep. We've seen a guy that is cocky, that is thinking about like only doing it for the money and only wanting to, you know, gain for himself. And I've seen that kind of character before. So I don't know, like it had to have been like the dialogue, because these actors are great. Like Will Poulter is great. Paul Rudd is great. Jenna Ortega is great. But like, I don't know if the dialogue, the writing, like something about it, just like the jokes didn't land. And like, and I even wrote here, there was like no punchline, like for any of the jokes. None of the punchlines hit. Even in our theater, there was nobody laughing. It was more like situational eating.
Right.
Even the situational things weren't funny. And I was like, oh man, this is not good.
And I think it's because, like you said, there's no punchlines to the jokes, and it was all situational. But I think situational humor works when the movie has a funny tone.
Yeah.
And this tone wasn't funny. So the situations wouldn't make you laugh.
And you know when I felt that? I felt that right at the beginning.
Yes.
As soon as when he killed the unicorn, that like I was like, okay, whoa, like this isn't the tone that I was thinking. Like this isn't like, it wasn't funny, but I also wasn't like, oh man, like, you know, what's happening?
Like you're not in the mood. They don't put you in the mood to laugh.
Yeah. And so when they do put a scene of like, oh, we went from something very serious, and then they try to pull off a joke, I'm like, I'm not in the mindset to laugh at that moment.
Right.
And so, oh dude, it's unfortunate, but that was one of my big ones. Any other cons, Mr. Rome?
No, I mean, you could just pick anything in the movie, and I could talk about it.
I want to just elaborate on one more. The mix of genres. You kind of, you know, took the idea that I was going to bring up, which is I feel like they should have just made this either a horror thriller or a drama thriller. Like have it be like the relationship between Elliot and Ridley, but have it be just terror, like horror, like of what the hell are we gonna do? Are we gonna survive this weekend with these unicorns? Don't include any of the jokes, because I feel like there's movies that balance that like very well. Again, we keep repeating the same movie, but Jurassic Park is a mix of different genres. If you really think about it, like it has the action and adventure of a movie that like of exploring an island, but then you have the drama of John Hammond. He wants to make this park succeed, but then you still have the comedic timing of different actors saying funny things. It's like there's movies that are able to balance it. Now, I'm not saying that every movie should, but I like the idea that Omar brought up. Either stick to one genre and really nail all those different points. That way, it at least stands out, and you can at least tell somebody, well, what is this movie? Like, what can it relate to? And like I said at the beginning, like if you tell me, what is this movie like? What genre is it? I'm like, it's a mix of like so many and none of them really work. And so it kind of sucked. I was really hoping that they would at least kind of like really focus in on one specific lane. I think it would have stood out a lot more.
Yeah, like and then it gets like super emotional at the end. That's just out of place.
Yeah.
Yeah, just too many things going on, maybe.
Paul Rudd is already like in 2 specific movies where he looks like he's going to get taken out and he survives. Ant-Man Quantumania. I was hoping that he would be the one like taken out like that. I was like, this would have a super big impact. And they didn't take him out.
He beats Kang. That was the flagship villain. And he gets beat already.
And so in this one, same thing. He seems like he's going to die, pass away, and nope, gets revived by the power of the unicorn magic. And so, Mr. Rome, there's another point that I wanted to bring up. There's no other section to really talk about this, so I'll kind of put it here in the cons, but you mentioned about Jenna Ortega's performance. And Omar, I don't think he's ever said this on the podcast, but, Omar's a known hater of Zendaya.
Not as a person.
Oh, no? I thought you said you hated her, like, completely like that. No. I'm just saying. Zendaya, if you're listening to this, we'd love to have you on the podcast.
Yeah, Zendaya.
Different movies. No, Omar, you've been known to...
Zendaya characters.
Yes, Zendaya characters, and be critical of them. Because of, like, hey, you're seeing very similar tendencies.
I feel like Zendaya almost always plays the same character in movies.
I felt the same when I watched Jenna Ortega, and I was really bummed out because we saw her in Beetlejuice.
Yep.
We saw her in Death of a Unicorn. She came out in the Wednesday show, and this is the first moment where, and I was waiting to bring this up to you because I was like, damn, I feel like I'm Omar now. Like now I'm actually seeing, because whenever I watch Zendaya, I at least see like a little bit of differences like that. Yeah, there might be some tendencies like that, but then to me, it's not the same character. Here for Jenna Ortega, it felt like it was very similar. Like in a rebellious kind of a kid, she kind of plays that in Beetlejuice, and so I'm like, maybe it's too close to that. Like I don't know. It was unfortunate because again, she still performed really well in this movie, and she's still a great actress, but. I started noticing that. So I'm wondering if that's just because we've seen her in so many similar types of roles. So maybe we just need to see her in something different, like something more lighthearted, maybe. Like, I don't know. But I just wanted to throw that out to you as well.
Like if I were an actor, I don't know how the acting business works. I would try to be like a different character every movie.
Yeah. Obviously, we don't know their schedules, right? They may have filmed these in different types of, moments in the year. And then obviously, she was probably switching from different characters. Either way. Just wanted to call that out.
So talking about things where there's no segment for.
Yeah.
If we talk about like things in the story that didn't make any sense.
Yeah, man.
Or like things where like, because I guess like sometimes when the movie is like bad, it's easy to criticize the story. Or maybe only the story is bad, but not the rest. Mm-hmm. And I feel like we've talked about everything but the story.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Because the story is also not good.
Yeah.
Like something I did not like is I guess I'll only point out one thing, the most ridiculous thing to me.
Yeah.
Where I officially was like checked out. There's a unicorn that's injured. The baby already died and came back to life. Mm-hmm. And then the unicorn injured, and Jenna Ortega's like in the house, and it's like a big detective scene. She's like looking through the pictures. Oh wait, and she realizes the unicorn comes back to life. Yeah, we saw that already in the beginning. What are you so surprised about? And her detective scene is looking at pictures.
Yeah. Artworks.
That artwork, that's not a detective, like you're not discovering anything crazy. And then you printed out the pictures, or you could have looked up, you already saw the pictures online, and then she printed them out. She's like shuffling through the pictures. Yep. There's no need to do that. You saw the pictures online.
Well, it's because Shep gave her the printer. She had to use it for something, Omar, what I got confused is that I thought they were gonna reveal that one of the unicorns was their mom.
I thought that was gonna happen too.
And I was waiting for it. I was like, okay, so is she connected to this unicorn not because she's good-hearted, but because it's her mom? And then they never said anything about that. So I was like, okay, I guess it was. I was way off on that.
Oh, man. All right, let's go to the next segment.
Yeah, man. Well, I mean, dude, you don't have a favorite shot. I don't even know if you have a favorite scene like that. What about favorite performance?
Wait, let me think of favorite scene.
Yeah, well, you think of that. I'll tell you my favorite performance,
all right.
Mr. Holm. You might be shocked. My favorite performance is Griff, who was played by Anthony Carrigan.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
He was like the butler.
Yeah.
But his facial reactions, those were the only parts that I was actually laughing. Whenever he was like in those scenes, he was being told what to do, and he would just like make these like weird ass faces. Like even the way that he was running away when the unicorns were there.
Yeah.
Like just things like that. Like he was actually what made me kind of laugh in certain scenes. So Anthony Carrigan as Griff, he was my favorite performance.
My favorite performance is Will Poulter.
Oh yeah.
Because he made me laugh.
Yeah.
I forgot what you said. He was like in the hot tub.
Yeah.
And I forgot what they were talking about, but his performance was funny. It
Yeah.
was good.
Those are some of the, again, performances that we at least enjoyed. Mr. Rom, I don't know if you do have a favorite scene or not. We don't have to do favorite shot either if we don't have an actual shot.
Let me see yours.
Well, I'll start with favorite scene.
All right.
I actually really enjoyed the scene after Richard E. Grant's character dies and they're deciding who's gonna go to the gate. And like, I don't know, something about that scene when they were all together, like flashing like Griff's character. And it was like, just because I'm like the person that's in charge of the gate or something, is like, yes, like that's the reason why we're choosing you. Like, and then they choose the scientist next. Like, I don't know, something about that scene was more of like the kind of humor, like the more quick and very quippy lines was what I was hoping for, but it didn't really happen. But that whole scene of them, all the characters together, deciding who's going to open the gate and basically be a sacrifice and bait was my favorite scene.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one.
And then I'll give you do you have a scene right now? Or now I'll give you my favorite shot too.
No,
the only shot that I can think of.
I'll just keep going.
Favorite shot. Omar just gave me the little wrap it up. Yeah.
Yeah, let's go to the next segment already.
Well, Mr. Omar, my favorite shot, the only thing that I can really think of that stood out is, do you remember when they're hunting the unicorn?
Yes.
And they go in and it's all foggy. And then they see the unicorn and it's like, its horn is like flashing.
Yeah.
I thought that shot was pretty cool.
Oh, where it's like sitting down on the ground.
Yeah, sitting down like that, and it has like
yeah.
it's like foggy. You could barely see it, but then you see like the horn already flashing. That was like the coolest shot, I think, to me.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
I just didn't like the unicorn design.
Yeah, I mean, I had a feeling that like even just from like certain like posters that I've seen, they wanted to make it seem like it was like not what you expect.
Like more monster.
Yep. So, well, Mr. Rome, we did it. We got through maybe one of the longest cons sections that we've ever done in Timeless Movie Podcast history. Let's go ahead and go into the last segment.
Congratulations, Death of a Unicorn.
Yeah. I don't know if they're going to want to accept that award like that, but Mr. Rome, let's go ahead and transition to the last segment where we then decide, is Death of a Unicorn timeless? Are we going to bamboozle the folks and have like a swerve that nobody expects? Field? Yeah.
A movie so bad that it becomes good?
Exactly.
Who knows?
In my book, no.
Yeah, me neither.
It is... This is going to be a super easy one. It's not timeless for me. Mr. Roman seems like he agrees as well. Like we've stated before, too many genres that were mixed together, not funny enough. Story just didn't make sense. We didn't even talk about the scientist. Again, a part of like the movie that seemed like it wanted to make it very funny and have somebody. There's a scientist that over-explains. Maybe, you know what? Maybe we're the scientist. I'm the scientist that is like over-explaining, and you're the scientist that comes in last minute and just says it in like a couple sentences.
Yeah, I just hated them in the movie. I would be enthusiastic in that comparison, but I just did not like them as in the movie.
Guys, those are our opinions. Very quick segment on the Timeless. Very easy, obviously, as you can tell that we just didn't really enjoy the experience of watching Death of a Unicorn. But like Omar mentioned before, to each their own. Maybe we're in the minority. Maybe this is the type of humor and the mixing of different genres. Maybe you enjoy that. If you do, let us know down below in the comments. We'd love to hear your guys' opinions and thoughts. And maybe Omar will disagree with you and give you a thumbs down in your comment.
Or maybe you're a unicorn fan.
Maybe.
And this is a unicorn movie you've been waiting for.
True. I'm not a big fan of unicorns.
Oh, me neither, but...
Maybe that's why we didn't connect with it.
Maybe.
Who knows? Let us know down in the comments. Love to interact about this topic. All right, guys. Well, appreciate all of you that have stayed all the way through to listen to our thoughts about Death of a Unicorn. Mr. Rome, always got to say thanks so much, man, for coming and talking about this movie. I'm sorry that this is a movie that is already considered one of your worst in the last 2 years.
That's right, man. I'll be here every 5 anyway.
I'm excited, man. 125. And I mentioned at the beginning, April is filled with weekends where there's multiple movies coming out.
Let's go.
I cannot wait. We got Sinners coming out. We have movies like, I think Warfare is like one of those that come out. Drop comes out. So it's going to be a very interesting month for movies. But guys, appreciate you listening to our thoughts. This has been episode number 120 of the Timeless Movie Podcast. Make sure to check out next week's episode. I go solo again. Omar didn't want to join me. I ended up talking about a movie that I also went to go watch solo. It's called Ash.
Ooh.
Sci-fi kind of a movie. Make sure to check it out on the podcast and let me know, as always, what your thoughts are on those movies in the comments or leave a review. All right, guys. This has been Omar and Victor from the Timeless Movie Podcast. We'll talk to you guys later. Have a great rest of your week.